Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's October 15th. It is 2024. We have a 9-game hockey slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Yes, we're going to talk some hockey. I'm not going to talk hockey, but I brought somebody on that knows hockey. Timothy Buell, you all know him as TastefulTides. What's happening, Tim?
Yeah, Stevie. I think we do this like once or twice a year with a little hockey action. It's always awesome to do this on your show. Always happy to be on the show with you. Looking forward to doing some NBA with you also coming up soon. So yeah, I'm excited to break down this hockey slate, and we'll have some fun.
I am sad that I missed opening night, NHL opening night. Hurricane kicked my butt. I mean, my area is still very flooded, but I'm thankful to kind of try to get back to normal. So that's why we're here. That's why we're talking some sports. I'm excited to get back on the grind, as we would say. NFL was great for me this past weekend. NASCAR was terrible, and yeah, I mean that's how it goes. It seems like the last 3 or 4 weeks I've been really good at NASCAR or really good at NFL, and it hasn't had like that week of being good at both. So maybe this week with Vegas and week 7. I don't know. Gosh, I can't even keep track anymore. All right, Tim. I don't talk hockey. Like you said, we do this once or twice a year. I'm here just to kind of play host and talk a little bit about what I'm betting as you're talking.
Yep.
So we do have our combo premium that includes NHL. I know that you're part of the projections team, doing a lot over there in the projections room, we'll call it, with the hockey stuff. And yeah, I mean, you can talk a little bit more about it, but you guys do projections. You guys are doing lineup HQ tags. Mostly expert survey for the main slates. So what's happening, man? What do we got for hockey this year?
Yeah, so we got our expert surveys on every slate of 4 more games. We've got projected ownership and projections for every main slate. We've got projections for every slate, period. Any slate we have projections for.
Right.
We have ownership and projections for every main slate on both FanDuel and DK. And then in lineup HQ, you'll see we're really focusing on getting some blurbs out there with our tags. So we have plenty of written content inside of lineup HQ. So lineup HQ is really a one page does it all type deal. So we got plenty of really good content, and Moneyball and I, and sometimes Joda, we're pretty much always in the Discord. So if you ever have a question or need like up to date news, we post right up to lock. We're right there every single game, every single night. We're always in Discord. It's a fantastic channel. It's a really, really great, solid group of people in that channel. So come hang out. If you got questions, we will answer them for you.
All right, let's break down this slate. 9 games, nothing really going on. NFL, nothing on Tuesday. Baseball, I think it's a 1-game baseball slate. So let's jump in the hockey streets. I'll be honest. Last time we did this, I think it was like a 7 or 8 game NHL slate last year. Finished 3rd in a tournament. I never changed my lineup after we did the podcast. So I built a lineup as we were doing the podcast, and yeah, I mean, it was great. Just really quick, Dodgers Mets 1-1. I think that's really interesting series. I think that the Dodgers pitching is, something that we talked about a lot down the stretch, and it's just going to kill them. And I mean, it's hurting them right now. Yankees up 5-2 in the top of the 8th. The bats for the Yankees are alive and well. I think we're going to see the Yankees in the World Series, and I don't know. I kind of think it's going to be the Mets. I think we might get a New York World Series, which would be kind of cool.
Wow, you're taking the Mets?
The reason I say it is just I think the pitching, right? At the end of the day, I think the Dodgers have a ton of power and a ton of upside with the bats, but I don't know if they have the pitching to win the World Series, one, and I don't know if they have the pitching to win the NLCS. So that's why I say Mets, Yankees World Series. All right, nine hockey games. again, it's going to be mostly Tim. The one thing that I do love about hockey is stacking. I think that's fascinating. We talk about it a lot during baseball season. We talked about it a lot during football, but hockey, stacking in hockey is a lot of fun as well. Vancouver and Tampa Bay is where we get started. 6.5 here. Tampa, a 130 favorite. Do you know, is this game being played in Tampa?
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it is.
I just listen. I know the area is really bad right now.
So. Yeah. So as far as I've heard, it's on in Tampa Bay, but I'm not. I mean, I haven't heard anything different. So
hey, listen, sports in an area that's been devastated is always something nice because it gives people a chance to get their minds off of other things. So let's start here as typical morning grind fashion. What do you like here for Vancouver?
Yeah, so Vancouver draws a pretty tough matchup here going about on the road in Tampa Bay. This is a pretty tough schedule spot for them. I am not going to be getting to a lot of Vancouver. If you want to play a couple of Vancouver pieces, it would be Jake DeBrusk at 4,400. He skates on the second line, but their second line is really, it's a pretty strong line. So it's not really like that much different than their first line. He gets first unit power play exposure, and he gets exposure to Elias Pettersson at even strength. So DeBrusk and Pettersson would be my two favorite from this team, but I'm not going to be getting to much Vancouver at all. So this is not a really good spot. This is definitely not a spot that I'm looking to attack. You know, there's definitely a couple like cheaper guys like Daniel Sprong at 3,200, Niels Hoglander at 3K. These guys are like decent like one-off plays, but I would not be playing more than like two Vancouver guys in the lineup. I really don't have much interest at all.
Tampa Bay side of this game. I am a Lightning fan. I don't watch a ton of hockey. Mostly watch hockey playoff time, and it's been fun watching hockey playoff time with the Lightning the last few years. What are we looking at here for Tampa? And I mean, I was a little thrown off because it's a much different lineup than we're used to for the last few years here. What do you like here for the Lightning?
Yeah, you got the addition of Jake Gensel, which is different. You no longer have Stamkos. You have
I knew that.
Gensel.
Yeah, I knew Stamkos.
Yeah. So it's a pretty interesting 1v1. Pretty similar players, both fantastic. You know, so definitely this is a really good spot for Tampa Bay. I'm just kind of bummed that it's like one of the first games of the night. I kind of like to stack late games to get that kind of like late swap ability that we use in like basketball. Sometimes you can do that in hockey as well. But yeah, this is one of the better teams on the slate. Nikita Kucherov might be the best raw point play on the entire slate. He's 9,400, but boy, oh boy, like he put up like, I think like 42 DK points earlier this year. And DK missed like 3 shots that he had. So he really should have had even more. So he hit somewhere around 45 DraftKings points. If he did that on this slate against Vancouver at home, like it really would not shock me that much. So Kucherov is one of the best raw point plays on the entire slate. If you want to go with an expensive stack, you can stack him with his line mates Point and Gensel. So it's definitely an expensive stack, but I think it's a very viable stack to absolutely break the slate. Another thing to note with Tampa Bay is that they've been going a lot of 11-7. That means 11 forwards and 7 defensemen. Most teams go 12-6. So that means a little bit of extra ice time for these forwards. And because they're still playing Darren Radish on the first power play unit, he's 3,100. So Darren Radish is not going to get you a lot of even strength ice time. So his peripherals, like block shots, are not going to be very strong. But he can be a cheap addition to your power play stack because he's only 3,100 and he'll be on that lethal first power play unit. So he's interesting at least for GPPs.
Hedman's a beast too, right?
Edmonton is, he's definitely a beast. He's 6,200. Don't hate that at all. Yeah, I mean, it's just how much money do you want to spend, allocate on this Tampa Bay team, just because Kucherov, Point, and Gensel are all pretty expensive. But if you can throw in Hedman and just go all cheap the rest of your players, I mean, go for it. This is an absolute smash spot.
All right, I like it. I will say, for anyone that enjoys sports betting, and if you have scores and odds, if you don't, you should. Why don't you? But if you do have scores and odds, the NHL prop model, by far my favorite thing ever. I bet anything that it spits out every time, and yeah, I mean, I made a good amount of money betting NHL last year by just betting the prop model.
I think the prop model was plus 60 units. Pretty sure.
I think I finished like 34 up on hockey last year, and all I did was bet the prop model. So
yeah.
Now Dana does it. He posts a lot of stuff. I know you post some stuff too. So Scores and Odds always has a bunch of stuff for NHL as well. So if you do have Scores and Odds already, don't sleep on NHL, because NHL betting has been one of my favorite things to bet over the last year that Florida's had it. So just throwing that out there for everyone. Just throwing it out there. Yeezy in chat. No damages to me in my house. I do have underground power lines, and I can't remember the last time in my house that I lost power. We did lose power. Did lose everything in the fridge. That was the worst thing that happened to me. So very thankful for that. I mean, food can be replaced. So no damages. All right, we got Vegas at Washington Capitals, 6 total in this game. Golden Knights, a 135 favorite. What do we like here for Vegas going into Washington?
Yeah, so Jack Eichel at 9,300. We just talked about Kucherov at 9,400. I greatly prefer Kucherov in this price tier. But hey, Jack Eichel is a fantastic player, highest caliber player. Unfortunately, he's on the road. I don't think I want to pay that much for him in this spot. But he's pretty much matchup proof. So if you want to go that route, I say go for it. Really though, Vegas for me is best for a couple of these value plays. Zach Whitecloud at 2,600. He's a third pair defenseman, but he's close to the minimum price. So if you need a value piece, I think he's a pretty decent play at 2.6. Alexander Holtz, 2,800. He's a winger. Second line, second power play, again on the cheap. And then Victor Olofsson at 3,300. He's on the first power play unit. So I really like getting to him as just like a one-off type play. So I think Vegas does add a little bit of value to our teams by going with some of these value plays. Some of the more expensive guys like Eichel and like Shea Theodore and Mark Stone, I think I'm going to pass on in a 3-max setting.
Threw me off. I thought you said Matt Stone. Do you know who Matt Stone is?
I don't.
YouTube eater, man, professional eater.
Okay.
He had some crazy challenges. His hot ramen challenge that he did for himself was probably one of the most miserable things I've ever seen someone try to do for themselves. So
I thought you were going to tell me he was a professional disc golf player.
No. It might be Stoney, Matt Stoney. But yeah. Anyway, no one is better than the beard. For anybody that watches any YouTube competitive eating and challenges. So Washington side of this game, they're at home. They are going up against Vegas. What do you got here?
Yeah, similar deal here. They don't even really have like high salary players. Like John Carlson at 6,500 is their most expensive position player on the entire team. Guys like Ovechkin are only 6K these days, and really still, I don't really have much interest in either one of them. Again, this is a team where I'm going to be looking to find a little bit of value on. Andrew Mangiapane at 3K. First line, second power play. I think he's a pretty decent points per dollar play. Jacob Chikrin at 4K. Top pair defenseman, second power play unit. I don't mind him as a decent value play, kind of like in the mid range. But all in all, this game to me is pretty unattractive from a DFS point of view.
All right, let's move on then. We got New Jersey Devils going up against Carolina. I can't think of what they are. I'm going blank.
The
Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Yeah, well, I can't think about Hurricanes right now. So
yeah.
Maybe that's why. I will always remember the New Jersey Devils, though. Who is the defensive player from like 20 years ago? Stevens or somebody?
Scott Stevens.
Yeah, I think that's who it was. Man, that guy was an enforcer.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of him. My dad was fascinated by that guy. I watched a lot of him play. Anyway, 6.5 total in this game. Hurricanes a 148 favorite. What do we like here for New Jersey?
So New Jersey played on Monday. So this is a second game in 2 nights situation for them heading into Carolina. Really brutal schedule spot. Carolina's a very, very tough arena to play in. This team, New Jersey, really is pretty much a cross-off for me. Do not have a lot of interest in them. If you want to pay up to get contrarian, you can always play Jack Hughes. But really, I really don't have any interest in New Jersey in this matchup.
Yeah, fair enough. Keep it real with the listeners. I mean, what you like and what you don't like.
I mean,
matters, so.
I kind of build, like maybe like 3 teams. So like I have to keep my player pool pretty tight.
No, I mean that's great. Carolina side here, they're at home going up against a team on a back-to-back.
I love Carolina.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I got the gist of that.
Yeah, so I absolutely love Carolina. Outside of Sebastian Aho, which of course you can still play, this team is extremely cheap. Andrei Svechnikov, 5,900, first line, first power play unit. 5,900. Seth Jarvis, first line, first power play unit, 5,300. So you can get this top line of Carolina for a little over 18,000, which is not that bad. They should really crush in this matchup. There's also Martin Eachus at 4,500. He's on the second line, but he's also on the first power play unit. And then Shane Gostisbehere, he runs the point on the power play. He's only 3,200. I imagine this team will carry some ownership, but I don't really care. They should really crush in this spot. So I'm looking to get to at least, I would say I'm probably going to be playing at least 2 of these guys in cash games, and then you can go full onslaught stack if you want to in GPPs, because I think Carolina is priced right. It's a great schedule spot for them. They should dominate this game.
All right, I like it. All right, cheap defensive. You had me at that. Like defensive is just, it has me at catcher. Like that's how I always look at it. Who's my cheap catcher? Who's my cheap defensive man? So there you go. I mean, Tim likes this one. So Florida Panthers, Columbus Blue Jackets, 6.5 total here. Panthers a 175 favorite on the road in Columbus. What do we like here for the Panthers?
So normally I would be saying to, get all over this Panthers team because the Blue Jackets defense is terrible, but Florida is missing both Barkov and Tkachuk, their 2 best forwards. So they don't exactly have their A team going out there. But still, this is still a spot where we can get to some Florida Panthers if we want to. Carter Verhaeghe at 7,300. Sam Reinhart at 7,700 are both still, I think, solid plays. But I think there's some really good mid-range plays for Florida as well. Sam Bennett at 5,600, I think, is a really great play. Evan Rodriguez at 4,400. I think he's a great play as well. Aaron Ekblad at 3,800. All these guys are really great plays. But unfortunately, due to those injuries, though, like this team does not operate in the same efficiency as they normally would. So I won't go too crazy with them, but given like Rodriguez's salary, Bennett's salary, like they absolutely have a ceiling because Columbus is pretty darn bad. So definitely can get to some Florida if you want to.
All right. I like it. Is there anything on the Columbus side that you like?
There's a couple cheap pieces I think are decent, like Sean Monahan at 3,300. If you need like a punt center, I think that's fine. I think Ivan Provorov at 3,500. If you need like a cheap defenseman, I think that's okay. Kent Johnson, 2,700, nearly min price on the first power play unit. I think that's okay. So there are a couple of these cheaper Columbus guys I don't mind, but I will not be getting to a lot of them in GPP.
All right. Fair enough. Minnesota Wild, St. Louis Blues, 6 total. Wild a slight 120 favorite here on the road in St. Louis. What do we like here for Minnesota?
So I don't want to say that this game is going to be like a snooze fest, but when I was breaking down both of these teams, like from a DFS perspective, not a lot sticking out, to be honest with you. Kaprizov at 9,600, that's just too expensive for me. Like when we have Kucherov, cheaper than that. We have Eichel, who's cheaper than that. We have other guys that we even got to that are cheaper than that. Going into St. Louis, there's only a 6 total on this game. I think it's a pass. Like I honestly think that I would confidently X out Minnesota. I really don't have that much interest at all.
All right, fair enough. St. Louis side.
Yeah, St. Louis is kind of in a similar position. There is not a single skater that is projecting very well from a points per dollar, and really, in terms of raw points, Jordan Kyrou at 7K, I think that's just too expensive for this matchup. Pavel Buchnevich at 58, it's too much. So this game for me, it's really a pass.
Now, in these types of games too, really quick, strategy-wise, we don't like defense or like goalies as much in these games, right? We want like high volume goalie type situations.
Yes, if you're playing DraftKings DFS, you're hunting for volume. So if it's gonna be like you think it's gonna be a back and forth, like high checking game, really, you don't want a goalie from there. Like you want a game where your goal is getting plenty of opportunities to make saves. You really want that 35 shot save bonus. Like I'd rather people take a shot on the Blue Jackets goalie, even though I think the Blue Jackets aren't going to win, than taking a shot on, say, the Wild goalie, because Florida just peppers opposing goalies with shots. So I know that whoever is goaltending for the Blue Jackets on the slate is going to get plenty of volume.
All right, fair enough. I remember that from a strategy perspective of like knowing that aspect of making sure your goalie's getting volume. Seattle Kraken, Nashville Predators. Kraken's the new team, right? That's the new expansion team. Was it this year or last year?
No. It's from like a couple years ago. You're thinking of the Utah Hockey Club.
That's right.
That's who you're thinking of. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Kraken on the
Kraken.
road against Nashville. What do we like here for Seattle?
So Vince Dunn is currently day-to-day. That has brought Riker Evans at 2,800 to be the point man on the first power play unit. It's not a great spot, but if he's going to continue being the first guy, the point guy on the first power play, and Dunn is still out, I don't mind taking shots on Riker Evans at 2,800. I wouldn't mind taking shots on Matty Beniers if you need a cheap center. He's second line, first power play unit. Andre Burakovsky, first line, first power play unit, 3,400. So a couple of these guys who are kind of cheap, I don't mind taking shots on. Some of the more expensive pieces on Seattle, like Jared McCann or Brandon Montour, they're pass for me. I would stick with Matty Beniers, Riker Evans, and Andre Burakovsky.
And you only like him if Dunn's out, right? Like
correct. Yeah. I would only play Evans if Dunn is out.
All right. So pay attention to that news. Nashville, they're 0-2 to start the season. What's going on with the Smashville? What's going on with them?
I mean, it's only 2 games. It's really not
All
that
right.
big a deal. So Roman Yossi, though, at 7,600, I mean, the guy's going to play 26, 27 minutes, something absurd like that. That's huge for those that don't know. That's huge minutes. He had 9 shots on goal last game. Okay, that's insane. He I would probably put him in first over Kucherov if I was playing cash games. He's like one of these guys that I would definitely get overweight in for GPPs. Like, this isn't the best spot in the world, but this guy's floor ceiling combination is amazing. So at only 7,600, I feel like I'm getting a bargain on him. I wouldn't mind playing him as a one-off. You can obviously pair him with any of his, like, first power play mates, like Forsberg or Stamkos, something like that. But really, just Roman Yossi, I think, is just a fantastic standalone play.
All right. We got San Jose, the Sharks, and the Stars. 6 total, Stars a 355 favorite. That's like, I'm facing Oakland or somebody here, or Seattle, with the best right-handed pitcher in baseball is what it seems like. Anything here on the Sharks going into Dallas as a plus 280 underdog?
So not only that big of an underdog, they'll be without their first overall pick, Macklin Celebrini, who's on the IR. Unfortunately, he's a fantastic player who will not be suited up for this game. So I don't hate Jake Wallman at 4,400. He's a good candidate for the double bonus. So that's 5 shots on goal, 3 blocks. So I don't mind Jake Wallman. Other than that, though, without Celebrini, I really don't want to play any San Jose.
I have a question. What about the goalies?
So this is the spot where,
like, a cheap goalie here that's going to get a ton of volume.
So Dallas is not exactly like a high volume team,
All right.
team. So this is a spot where, but what I will say is a lot of people make the mistake of taking the Dallas goalie because they're like, oh, I'm going to get the win. But really, you're not going to get any volume at all. So I definitely don't have much interest in the Dallas goalie either, as weird as that sounds, because the Sharks won't have the puck, so they can't shoot the puck, right? So I don't have interest in either goaltenders.
There you go. Dallas side here, huge favorite. Huge favorite. What do we like here for the Stars?
Yeah, there's definitely a few options that you can go with this. I think Tyler Seguin at 3,600 is a great play. Rube Hintz at 5,300. Wyatt Johnson at 5,500. I mean, they're just not priced high enough. So I would spread out your exposures. I would get to some Jason Robertson at 6,900. He's a smash play also. So, like, any of these first power play unit guys, any of these first or second even strength lines are fine. Matt Duchene, like all these like top 9 forwards are fantastic. And then Hiskinen is going to be the quarterback of the point man of the power play. He's 5,800. He's definitely fine as well. But I'd be loading up on Dallas.
All right. We got Chicago at Calgary, right? The Flames and the Blackhawks, 6 total in this one. Flames are 162 favorite. What do we like here for Chicago?
Not a whole heck of a lot. I love Connor Bedard. He's going to be a true superstar. Going into Calgary, though, pretty tough spot. He's got no talent around him either. But I guess I wouldn't mind like a 2-man on Bedard and Teravainen. Teravainen's 4,100, even strength line mate with Bedard. both on the first power play unit. So I wouldn't mind that mini 2-man. Other than that, I am all set with Chicago.
Flames, home favorite here. What do we like for Calgary?
Yeah, definitely can get to a few different Calgary pieces. I think that where did he go? Nazem Kadri at 6,900 is completely fine. Mackenzie Weegar, they're finally giving him the first power play run. So at 6,400, I think he's a fantastic defenseman at 64. I think Jonathan Huberdeau at 4,300 is decent. Oh, and Connor Zary at 3,300. I think he's one of the better values on the entire slate. So I think he and like Anthony Mantha also at 2,800. They're both fantastic values on this slate.
All right. Last game. I feel like we kind of cruise. This is what happens when I'm doing is hosting and just letting somebody else talk. Because I mean I did put a parlay together for the morning grind parlay because I think it's fun. Flyers, Oilers, 6.5 total here. Edmonton minus 225. What do we like here for Philadelphia?
So this is kind of an interesting late night hammer. You know, this game starts at 10 p.m. Eastern. I would definitely leave a couple spots open in your teams for some late swap potential here. Matt V. Mitchkoff at 4K for Philly. I think he's a really, really great play. Wouldn't mind getting to some Travis Konechny at 6K. Oh, and Tyson Forster also at 3,700. I think he's fine. But it's the other side of this game that is much more appealing and kind of more difficult to build into because they are pricey.
All right, well, let's talk about it. You know, we talked about Tampa, we talked about Florida, we talked about Carolina. They had some value pieces. Are we paying up here for the Oilers?
Yeah, so it's going to be a really difficult decision, like what you want to do with like Kucherov and Connor McDavid. It's really close in my eyes. I don't know. It's really a coin flip, but you know, Connor McDavid at 9,500 at home. Edmonton's looked really bad so far. They're going to snap out of it eventually, and when they do, I mean, it's going to be amazing for your lineups. So obviously, Connor McDavid, one of the best players in the world. Fine DFS play. Evan Bouchard, one of the best, better offensive defensemen. If you don't want to play Yossi, you can play Bouchard. If you don't have the money, let's say for McDavid or Kucherov, then Leon Draisaitl at 8K, I think is fantastic also. So you really have these really strong pay up options for Edmonton. And like when they snap out of this funk, it's going to be, it's going to be great. So all these guys have 25 plus fantasy point potential.
So what I got out of this podcast was stacks we're potentially looking at on the slate: Florida, Carolina, Oilers, potentially Tampa is kind of where it seems like you're at. Am I missing something?
Dallas.
Okay. Yeah, I
definitely get to some Dallas if you're multi-entering.
Right,
even
so
if you're like 3 maxing, I would get to some Dallas.
I built a parlay.
Okay.
That's what's fun and not building a parlay. So I haven't done and enter yet, but I have to get Tim's thoughts. It's plus 480. It's a 4-team parlay. They're all money lines.
Okay.
Tampa, because I'm betting Tampa. If I'm going to bet hockey and do a parlay, I got to bet Tampa. Carolina to beat New Jersey. Nashville to beat the Kraken, and Dallas to beat the Sharks. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, I've got no issue with that.
All right. Well, it's plus 480 on the Hard Rock. I'm throwing it in there because it's fun. I built a lineup as we were going. Yeah. Thanks for coming on. If anybody that wants to jump in on. So did you like any bets? I guess I should ask you before that. Is there any bets that you like?
So I definitely like Carolina.
right.
That they're minus 148 right now. I don't mind jumping on that right this second. And then I think I'm going to take the over in the Edmonton Philly game.
Well, okay. I like that. Over 6.5.
Yeah. But
There you go.
Carolina for me is definitely like the one that I really like.
I bet it's separate now just because you said that. I have it in my parlay, but I bet it's separate as well. Tim, Moneyball, Dana, and those always hanging out over there on Discord, like he mentioned. That channel's free. So even if you aren't a premium member, you can check out the NHL channel. They are always over there talking something hockey. So Moneyball's a great person to ask for questions if Tim's not around. Like I said, scores and odds, they're doing a bunch of stuff. Projections here for core premium. That's going to wrap it up for Tuesday. Back on, I think, Thursday. Back for NFL on Thursday. I don't think we'll have a podcast Wednesday. Not a lot of stuff going on Wednesday. So back on Thursday for NFL. So Wednesday night, we'll be back. Hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.